Supreme General Vorkath stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching Earth slowly turn green. Soon it would be perfect for Xorathi life. Humans would die, and a new era would begin. "General, we have a problem," his science officer said. "Strange energy readings from the planet's surface. Multiple locations activating simultaneously." "Show me," Vorkath demanded. The screen displayed a map of Earth with dozens of points lighting up. They were connecting, forming a network across the planet. "What is this?" Vorkath asked. Before anyone could answer, a blue light shot up from the Rocky Mountains. Similar beams rose from points all around the world. They met high in the atmosphere, forming a glowing web that spread to cover the entire planet. In the mountain bunker, Kyle, Ellie, Joseph, and Alice watched as the ancient system came to life. Colonial scientists had arrived with the final pieces needed to power the planetary shield. "It's working," Ellie said. "The shield is pushing back against the Xorathi poison." On screens around them, they could see the green haze being forced upward, away from Earth's surface. The air was clearing. People who had been choking could breathe again. Joseph received a message from Admiral Price. "The Xorathi fleet is pulling back from Earth orbit. They're gathering for one final attack." "Can your ship stop them?" Alice asked. Joseph shook his head. "Not alone. But we're not alone anymore." Outside the bunker, they could see the sky changing. The green was fading, replaced by blue. And through that blue, new lights appeared, hundreds of them, descending through the atmosphere. "The main colonial fleet is here," Joseph said with a smile. "All 4 colonies." In space, Admiral Price watched as fresh ships arrived from jump points near Saturn. The combined fleet of Nova Haven, Avalon, Solstice, and New Horizon formed up around Earth, their weapons charged, ready for the final battle. "Colonial Fleet to Xorathi Command. Cement the broadcast on all channels. You have attacked our homeworld. You have harmed our family. Leave now or be destroyed." On his command ship, Vorkath faced a decision. The humans had technology he hadn't expected. They had allies from beyond the stars. This was no longer an easy conquest. "Prepare our ultimate weapon," he ordered. "Target their fleet." The Xorathi ships formed a circle, channeling energy between them. A massive weapon began to charge, aimed at Earth and the colonial fleet. Kyle saw it on the bunker scanners. "If that hits, even the shield won't save us. We need to take out their command ship," Joseph said. "That's where Vorkath is controlling everything." Alice looked at the weapons they had gathered. "I have an idea." Working together, Earth resistance fighters and colonial soldiers loaded the most powerful bunker weapons onto a colonial shuttle. Joseph, Alice, and Frank volunteered to fly it. "This is suicide," Ellie warned them. "No," Alice said. "This is saving our planet." The small shuttle launched, protected by colonial fighters. It flew straight toward the Xorathi command ship as the huge weapon continued charging. "Ready?" Joseph asked as they approached. Alice nodded. "For Earth." Frank activated the weapons. Beams of blue energy cut through the Xorathi defenses. The shuttle crashed into the command ship's main reactor. The explosion rippled through the Xorathi fleet. Their formation broke. Their weapon failed. Admiral Price gave the order. "All ships, attack." The combined human fleet fired everything they had. Xorathi ships exploded one after another. The survivors turned and fled, jumping away to distant space. On Earth, people watched the lights in the sky. The battle was visible even from the ground. When it ended, cheers erupted worldwide. Inside the mountain bunker, Ellie received messages from around the planet. "The Xorathi are retreating everywhere," she announced. "We've won." Kyle looked at Joseph. "What happens now? Will you go back to your colonies?" Joseph smiled. "No, we've come home. Earth and the colonies will rebuild together. Humanity is whole again." Above them, colonial ships descended through clear blue skies, bringing help and hope to their long-lost home. The sky over Earth turned a sickly green color. The Xorethi had activated their doomsday weapon. It was a last resort they used when facing tough resistance. The weapon began to break down Earth's atmosphere, making it toxic to humans, but perfect for Xorethi life. "What's happening?" Alice shouted as she led her team into the Chicago base to rescue Joseph. Frank checked a scanner they had found in one of the bunkers. "The air is changing," he said. "Oxygen levels dropping. Some kind of poison spreading." Inside the base, Joseph and his team were fighting for their lives. The elite Xorethi guards had them cornered. 1 minute until the disruptors activate, Joseph told his soldiers. "We need an exit now." A wall behind the Xorethi suddenly exploded. Alice and her fighters rushed in. "This way," she yelled. "We found another route out." The two teams joined forces, fighting side by side. Earth weapons and colonial technology working together against the aliens. They ran through burning corridors as the countdown continued. 10 seconds, Joseph warned. They jumped through a broken window just as the disruptors went off. The entire Xorethi base shuddered, then collapsed inward. A wave of blue energy spread outward, jamming all Xorethi communications across North America. But the victory was short-lived. The green sky was getting darker. People everywhere started coughing, struggling to breathe. "We need to get to the Rocky Mountains," Joseph said. "Whatever Kyle and Ellie are activating, it might be our only hope." In orbit, the battle wasn't going well. The colonial fleet fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. Admiral Price's flagship took heavy damage. "We've lost 15 ships," her officer reported. "The Xorethi keep coming." "Hold position," Samantha ordered. "Earth needs more time." On her command screen, a message appeared from Nova Haven. Governor Patricia West's face looked concerned. "Admiral, our scientists have analyzed the atmospheric change on Earth," Patricia said. "The Xorethi are terraforming the planet for their own use. We have technology that might help, but we need to break through their lines." "We'll make a path," Samantha promised. "Just be ready." In the Rocky Mountains, Kyle and Ellie had finally connected all the bunker systems. The ancient technology was coming alive around them. "Look at this," Ellie said, pointing to a glowing map. "This isn't just a weapon. It's some kind of planetary shield." "Can it stop what's happening to the air?" Kyle asked. Ellie studied the old controls. "I think so, but we need more power than we have." At that moment, Joseph, Alice, and their teams arrived. The colonial soldiers immediately went to the control systems. "We know this technology," Joseph explained. "It's similar to what we use on Nova Haven. Our ancestors built it before they left Earth." Frank Moore looked at the screens. "Can you make it work?" "Not alone," Joseph admitted. "We need the other colonies too." In space, Admiral Price made a bold decision. She ordered her fleet to form a wedge formation and charged straight at the Xorethi flagship. It was a risky move that left her ships exposed. "All power to forward shields," she commanded. "Target their command center." The colonial ships took heavy damage, but broke through the Xorethi line. As they passed, smaller ships detached from the colonial fleet and raced toward Earth. "Scientific team away," Samantha's officer reported. "They have the atmospheric stabilizers." On Earth, people were dying as the air became more toxic. In major cities, Xorethi forces began setting up their own habitats, preparing to claim the planet as their own. But in bunkers around the world, resistance fighters worked with colonial technology. They were building something that might save humanity, if they could finish in time. 10 days later, resistance groups around the world were fighting back with new hope. The colonial advance teams had connected with fighters on every continent, bringing weapons and information. The hidden bunkers were being opened one by one. Alice Gray stood with Joseph Bennett on a hill overlooking a Xorethi base. The massive alien structure rose like a dark tower from what used to be downtown Chicago. That's their main communications hub for North America, Alice said. If we can take it down, they'll be blind for hours. Joseph nodded. My team can get inside, but we need a distraction. Leave that to us, Alice said. She held up one of the weapons from the bunker. We've been saving these for something big. They returned to the underground base where both their teams waited. Lieutenant Frank Moore was there too. After escaping Xorathi captivity, he had found his way to Alice's group. I got a message from Kyle's team, Frank said. They've secured the Rocky Mountain bunker. It has some kind of big defense system, but they need time to activate it. Then let's give them time, Joseph replied. Tomorrow, we hit the communications hub. While the Xorathi are busy with us, Kyle can work without interference. That night, Alice couldn't sleep. She found Joseph looking at pictures on a small device. Is that your home? She asked. Nova Haven, he said, showing her images of a city with purple skies and strange buildings. It's beautiful in its own way, but our grandparents always told stories about Earth. Hard to believe humans have been living out there all this time, Alice said. When this is over, will you go back? That depends on what's left of Earth, Joseph said, and what Earth wants from us. In space, the main colonial fleet was now passing Jupiter. Admiral Samantha Price commanded from her flagship, the Returner. 80 warships moved in perfect formation. Each carried weapons that had been developed over generations, far beyond what Earth had when the colonists left. Xorathi fleet detected, her officer reported. They're moving to intercept. So they know we're coming, Samantha said. Good. No more surprises. Battle stations. The space between Jupiter and Mars became a battlefield. Colonial ships moved with impossible speed, firing weapons that cut through Xorathi shields. But the aliens had numbers on their side. For every colonial ship, there were 5 Xorathi vessels. On Earth, the attack on the Chicago communications hub began at dawn. Alice's team used the bunker weapons to hit the outer defenses. Blue energy blasts tore through Xorathi forces. As the aliens focused on the attack, Joseph's team slipped inside the base. We need to reach the central core, Joseph told his soldiers. Plant the disruptors at these points. They moved through dark corridors, fighting any Xorathi they encountered. Colonial weapons worked well, but the aliens adapted quickly. Each fight got harder. In the Rocky Mountains, Kyle and Ellie worked frantically to activate the ancient defense system. This thing needs a power source we don't have, Kyle said in frustration. Ellie studied the old diagrams. Not exactly. It needs to connect to all the other bunkers worldwide. Together, they can generate the power. They sent messages to every resistance group they had contact with. All around the world, people rushed to activate the bunkers. In Chicago, Joseph reached the central core of the Xorathi base. He placed the final disruptor and started the countdown. We have 3 minutes to get out, he told his team. They fought their way back toward the exit, but found it blocked by a group of elite Xorathi guards. These were different from the others, bigger, faster, with weapons built into their bodies. Go around, Joseph shouted as energy blasts hit the wall beside him. Outside, Alice saw the colonial team was trapped. We need to help them, she told her fighters. They came across the stars for us. We're not leaving them behind. She led her team back toward the base, straight into the heaviest Xorathi defenses. Commander Joseph Bennett's ship landed silently in a forest clearing 30 miles outside Boston. The stealth technology made it invisible to Xorathi sensors. 6 colonial soldiers stepped out, wearing armor that seemed to blend with the surroundings. Remember, Joseph told his team, Earth humans don't know about us. They'd been fighting alone for weeks. Approach carefully. They moved through the woods using their scanners to avoid Xorathi patrols. Their goal was to find any organized resistance. According to their intelligence, this area had active human fighters. Captain Alice Gray was with another resistance group nearby. After escaping Washington, she had found other survivors and formed a fighting unit. They had been attacking small Xorothy outposts, stealing what they could. Alice was watching the Xorothy supply depot when her scout ran up to her. "Captain, we've got movement in the west sector." "Not Xorothy. Some kind of humans in strange gear." Alice frowned. "Might be collaborators. Some people have been working with the aliens. Let's check it out." Her team surrounded the strangers in the forest. Alice stepped out with her rifle raised. "Don't move. Identify yourselves." Joseph raised his hand slowly. "We're not your enemy. We've come from far away to help." "No one can help us," Alice said. "The whole planet is under Xorothy control." Joseph looked her in the eyes. "Not the whole planet. And not for long. We're from Nova Haven." Alice didn't lower her gun. "Never heard of it. Is that some military base that survived?" "It's a colony," Joseph said. "A human colony 40 light years from Earth. We received your distress signal." Alice laughed bitterly. "Right. And I'm the Queen of England." Joseph pressed a button on his wrist. The 3D hologram appeared, showing star systems and the location of Nova Haven. 150 years ago, Earth sent out colony ships in secret. It was called the Exodus Initiative. We've been waiting, in case Earth ever needed us. Now we've returned. Alice stared at the hologram, her gun slowly lowering. "You're serious? You're space humans?" "We're just humans," Joseph said. "Your distant cousins, coming home." At the same time, Kyle's group was using their new weapons against a Xorothy patrol. The advanced guns fired blue energy that cut through Xorothy armor like it was paper. "These actually work," Kyle shouted as another alien fell. Ellie was checking the computer console they had found in the hidden bunker. "There's more. According to this, there are similar bunkers all over the world, each with different technology." The console suddenly lit up with a new message. "Colonial Advance Team has made Earth contact. Main fleet arrival. 14 days. "What does that mean?" Kyle asked. "It means help is coming," Ellie said with wonder in her voice. In orbit around Mars, a Xorothy outpost was monitoring Earth when alarms sounded. Before they could react, 5 small ships appeared from nowhere. These ships were like nothing that Xorothy had seen before. They moved faster than should be possible. The colonial attack ships destroyed the Xorothy base within minutes. It was Earth's first victory against the invaders. On the Xorothy command ship in Earth orbit, Supreme General Vorkath received the news of the Mars outpost destruction. His body pulsed with angry red light. "Impossible," he said. "Earth has no such capability." "The attack came from ships we cannot identify," his officer reported. "They use technology we have not seen before." Vorkath's lights changed to a cold blue. "Scan deep space. If Earth has allies, I want to know who they are and how many ships are coming." The Xorothy began to strengthen their defenses. They had conquered hundreds of worlds, but never faced a situation like this. An occupied planet getting outside help was unprecedented. The first battle had been fought. The war to save Earth was beginning. Kyle Daniels led his resistance group through the dark forests outside Boston. Ellie Carter walked beside him, holding the old book tight to her chest. Behind them, 20 fighters carried whatever weapons they had found or stolen. "We're close to the mine entrance," Kyle whispered. "Xorothy patrols pass here every 30 minutes. They waited in the shadows as a floating Xorothy craft moved overhead. Its searchlights swept through the trees. No one moved until it was gone. "Now," Kyle said. "Quick and quiet." The mine entrance was partly hidden by fallen rocks. The group moved inside, using small red lights to see. Ellie checked the map in her book. "According to this, we need to go down to level 3. There should be a door with a special lock." They walked for an hour through dark tunnels. Water dripped from the ceiling. The air smelled old. Finally, they reached a metal door with a strange panel beside it. "This is it," Ellie said. "The book says it needs a blood sample from a human." Kyle pressed his finger against the panel. A small needle poked his skin. The panel lit up green, and the door slowly opened. Inside was a large room filled with metal crates and strange machines. Lights came on automatically. The resistance fighters spread out, looking at everything with amazement. "What is all this?" Kyle asked. Ellie opened one crate. Inside were weapons unlike anything they had seen. "These are from the Exodus program," she said. "Technology that was advanced even before our ancestors left Earth, designed to fight whatever threats might come." Kyle picked up what looked like a rifle. It was lighter than it appeared. When he held it, blue lights appeared along its sides. "Will these work against the Xorthi?" "There's only one way to find out," Ellie said. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Frank Moore had been captured. He woke up in a Xorthi holding cell. The walls were made of a strange dark metal that seemed to move slightly when he wasn't looking directly at it. A door opened, and a Xorthi entered. Up close, they were even stranger than they appeared from a distance. The alien had silvery skin that flowed like mercury. It had 4 arms and a head with no visible face, just patterns of light that changed constantly. "Human," the Xorthi said in a flat voice. "You carried a device. What was its purpose?" Frank stayed silent. "Your resistance is pointless," the Xorthi continued. "Your planet is already ours. We detected a signal sent from your device. What was its destination?" Frank smiled slightly. "So they were worried about the signal. That meant it was important." "Just a weather report," he said. The Xorthi moved closer. "Your species uses humor as defense. Ineffective. We will extract the information directly." A second Xorthi entered with a machine that had long metal arms ending in needles. Frank tried to back away, but restraints held him to the wall. Before the machine could reach him, alarms sounded throughout the facility. The Xorthi turned their heads in unison. "Perimeter breach," one said. "Unknown technology detected." They rushed out, leaving Frank alone. The restraints suddenly clicked open. Frank didn't understand what was happening, but he wasn't going to waste the opportunity. He ran. In space, just beyond Mars, something appeared in a flash of blue light. A small ship, sleek and silver, nothing like Earth's bulky spacecraft. Inside, Commander Joseph Bennett and his advance team prepared for their first contact with the Xorthi. "Stealth systems active," his pilot said. "They haven't detected us yet." Joseph looked at the screen showing Earth, partly covered by Xorthi ships. "Let's get closer," he said. "Find the resistance and show these invaders they picked the wrong planet to attack." 40 light years from Earth, on a planet called Nova Haven, Governor Patricia West stood at the window of her office. Unlike Earth's blue skies, Nova Haven's sky was a light purple. 2 moons hung low on the horizon. The city below was a mix of tall spires and green spaces. "You're sure the signal is authentic?" she asked. "Yes, Governor," said the communications officer. "It matches the emergency codes established during the Exodus. Earth is under attack." Patricia had never seen Earth. Neither had her parents or grandparents. Nova Haven was settled 5 generations ago. But every child learned about the homeworld and the promise to return if needed. "Alert the other colonies," she said. "Activate the defense fleet. And get me Commander Bennett." Commander Joseph Bennett arrived 20 minutes later. At 35, he was the youngest commander in Nova Haven's history. His uniform was dark blue with silver trim, nothing like the military uniforms on old Earth. "The recall signal is real," Patricia told him. "Earth needs us." Joseph nodded. "The fleet can be ready in 3 days, but we should contact Avalon, Solstice, and New Horizon. We'll need all 4 colonies to help." "Already done," Patricia said. "Admiral Price from Avalon is coordinating the joint fleet." They walked to the military wing of the government building. Inside a large room, officers worked at stations displaying star maps and ship diagrams. "Show me what we're dealing with," Joseph said. A 3D image appeared in the center of the room. It showed Earth's solar system with 12 large red dots around Earth. "Unknown alien ships," explained the analyst. Based on the signal data, they're called Sorathi. We know nothing about their technology or numbers. What's our travel time? Joseph asked. With the jump drives, we can reach Earth in 17 days. Joseph frowned. That's too long. The Sorathi could finish whatever they're doing by then. Patricia looked at the star map. The Exodus ships took 40 years to reach Nova Haven. Our jump technology cuts that to 17 days. That's the best we can do. Then we need to send an advance team, Joseph said. Small ships can jump faster. They can gather intelligence and connect with any resistance on Earth. Patricia nodded. Make it happen. I'll address the colony tonight. That evening, all Nova Haven watched as Patricia explained the situation. Screens in homes and public spaces showed her face. Fellow colonists, she began, 150 years ago, our ancestors left Earth to ensure humanity's survival. Today, Earth has activated the recall signal. Our homeworld is in danger, and we will answer the call. People in the streets looked at each other with shock and determination. Our fleet departs in 3 days. Patricia continued. Admiral Price will lead the combined colonial forces. We will defend Earth as promised. In the military base outside the city, Joseph prepared his team. 6 small ships would jump ahead of the main fleet. Each carried 20 soldiers with advanced weapons and technology. We don't know what we'll find, he told them. Earth has changed since our ancestors left. The Sorathi are unknown enemies, but we have advantages they won't expect. One of the soldiers asked, will Earth people even know who we are? Probably not, Joseph said. The Exodus was kept secret. To them, we'll appear like strangers from the stars, but we're still human. We're still their family, returning home. The first ship launched that night. It disappeared in a flash of blue light as it activated its jump drive. The other ships would follow one by one. On Earth, the Sorathi continued their invasion. Cities burned. People hid. Resistance groups fought with limited weapons. And no one knew that humanity's lost children were coming home. Dr. Ellie Carter worked by candlelight in the basement of what used to be Boston University. 1 week after the invasion, power was gone in most places. The Sorathi controlled the major cities. Humans were being rounded up for labor camps. Ellie wasn't a soldier. She was a historian who specialized in government secrets. When the aliens came, she knew what she had to do. She went straight to the sealed archives, breaking in during the chaos of the first attack. She pulled out an old leather book from her bag. The cover said Exodus Initiative, Top Secret 2093. Inside were handwritten notes about something called Operation Lifeboat. The pages told an amazing story. In 2093, Earth's governments secretly agreed that humanity needed a backup plan. Climate disasters, nuclear threats, and asteroid near misses had shown how fragile Earth was. They took the most advanced ships and technology and sent people to colonize distant planets. The mission was erased from public records. Ellie turned to the last page. It showed a simple drawing of a radio transmitter and coordinates. The note said, "Emergency recall signal will activate automatically if Earth faces extinction. Colonies will return to defend homeworld." The basement door crashed open. Ellie hid the book as 3 people entered. They carried makeshift weapons and looked hungry. "We're not enemies," said a tall man with a scared face. "I'm Kyle Daniels. Used to be Army Rangers. We're resistance. We heard someone was in here." Ellie carefully showed them the book. Kyle's eyes widened. "So you're saying we have secret space colonies that might come save us? Sounds like science fiction." "Look at the aliens upstairs," Ellie said. Science fiction became real when they arrived. Kyle's radio crackled. A voice said, "Patrol coming your way. 10 Sorathi soldiers, 3 blocks east." "We need to move," Kyle said. "Come with us, Doctor. If what you found is real, we need your help." They escaped through underground tunnels. Kyle took Ellie to their hideout in an old subway station. 20 people lived there, all resistance fighters. They had guns, food, and a working radio. The Xorathi are strip mining everything, said Lisa, the group's tech expert. They're taking our metals, water, even people for experiments. They don't see us as intelligent life. Kyle pointed to a map. We've been trying to find something to fight back with. Any weapon, any advantage. Ellie opened the book again. According to this, there are hidden bunkers with advanced technology. The Exodus people left them in case they needed to return. The nearest one is marked here, in the old mine system outside the city. Kyle studied the map. That's heavily guarded now. The aliens set up a base there. Then they might have found something, Ellie said. We need to see what's there. While they planned, Lieutenant Frank Moore was 50 miles away, traveling at night to avoid detection. He carried the data drive with the strange signal. His goal was to reach any resistance group that might understand what it meant. He hid as a Xorathi patrol passed overhead. Their ships hummed with strange energy. Frank had seen what their weapons did to humans. He still had nightmares about his friends at the communications center. The signal was still broadcasting. Frank had checked before he left. Something out there was supposed to help. But would it come in time? On the edge of the solar system, something stirred. A small probe activated after receiving the signal. It had been dormant for decades, waiting. Now it turned toward distant stars and sent its own message. Earth recall received. Preparing response. Nova Haven acknowledges. The hidden colonies had heard Earth's cry for help, but they were far away, and the Xorathi were already here. Earth would have to survive long enough for help to arrive. The sky turned dark over New York City on a Tuesday morning. It wasn't clouds or an eclipse. 12 massive ships blocked the sun. The same thing happened in Beijing, London, Moscow, and every major city around the world. People stopped and looked up. Traffic halted. Phone cameras pointed to the sky. News channels interrupted regular shows. The internet exploded with videos and theories about what the ships were. Then the message came. It blasted through every radio, TV, phone, and computer. A deep voice spoke in perfect English. People of Earth, you now belong to the Xorathi Imperium. Your resources are ours. Your people are ours. Resistance is pointless. You have 6 hours to order your leaders to surrender. Captain Alice Gray stood in the Pentagon War Room as screens showed the alien ships. At 42, she had served in the Earth Defense Force for 20 years. She never expected to face actual aliens. What are our options? Asked the President, her face pale under the room's harsh lights. The Joint Chiefs looked at each other. No one wanted to say the truth. Sir, Alice finally spoke up. We have no options. Our missiles can't reach orbit fast enough to hit them. Our planes can't fly that high. We are completely defenseless. The President closed his eyes. Then we buy time. We pretend to negotiate while we evacuate as many people as possible. 6 hours passed. The world's governments sent messages asking for peace talks. The aliens didn't respond. When the deadline hit, the Xorathi ships moved. Strange craft dropped from the bigger ships. They were smooth and black like beetles. They descended toward military bases first. Earth's forces fought back. Jets scrambled. Missiles launched. Tanks fired. Nothing worked. The alien weapons cut through everything. Alice watched from a helicopter as Washington, D.C. burned. The White House was gone. The Capitol building collapsed. Tears ran down her face as the pilot tried to reach the emergency bunker in Virginia. Captain, we're getting strange readings, the pilot said. Something's jamming our systems. A helicopter shook. The controls stopped working. They spiraled toward the ground. Alice braced for impact. She woke up hours later in the crashed helicopter. The pilot was dead. She crawled out into the night. Fires burned in the distance. The alien ships still hung in the sky, now glowing with blue light. Alice's radio crackled. Repeat, any EDF personnel. Fall back to rendezvous point Echo. The President is dead. Chain of command is broken. We are forming resistance cells. She started walking south, hiding whenever alien craft flew overhead. The world had changed in just one day. Meanwhile, in an underground communications center in Colorado, Lieutenant Frank Moore noticed something strange. As the aliens attacked, Earth's old emergency satellite network had automatically activated. It was sending a signal, but not to anywhere on Earth. Frank checked the coordinates. The signal was aiming at specific points in deep space. The message repeated over and over. Exodus recall. Earth compromised. Return protocol active. Frank didn't understand what it meant. He downloaded the data to a secure drive. If the aliens took over the facility, at least someone might find this information someday. Outside the facility, the Xorethi forces landed. Their soldiers weren't what anyone expected. They moved like liquid metal, forming weapons from their own bodies. They didn't speak. They didn't take prisoners. As Earth fell city by city, the signal continued beeping into space. No one on Earth remembered what it meant. That knowledge had been erased from history books generations ago. But far away, across 40 light-years of space, someone was listening. Someone remembered the promise made by their ancestors. Someone was preparing to return home. And the Xorethi had no idea what was coming.